This tutorial was originally recorded in 2020 for my students, in Russian, and translated into English with the help of AI so I can make even more videos for you. If you enjoy these lessons, please support the channel with your likes, comments, and subscriptions. New lessons are always available on my Patreon. Hi friends! Today we're going to paint some stones, a waterfall, sparkling water. Such an interesting landscape. I previously did a similar piece on Tobochka paper, but for this lesson I'll be working on Bohol paper. Let's see how it compares, and I'll do my best to explain the general algorithm for building this kind of scene. You can always swap out details, but the core principle stays the same. We have rocks, water, and some nature. I divided my sheet into roughly 4 horizontal sections, 3 for the rocks and 1 for the background. I'll start sketching right away. Here's the first row, with a boulder, a stream, and some churning water. The rocks drop downward here, and that's our first layer. The second row starts just above, with a big rock moving back into the distance with water rushing past, and then a third row, and finally, behind everything, a thicket of trees and shrubs. The first row of rocks are about the same size, but I'll make them slightly varied in shape for interest. With my basic sketch done, let's add some branches. For these, I'll use masking fluid. The upper right corner is packed with tangled branches, and there are a few strong, broken lines coming through. I'll quickly sketch the main shapes in pencil, but the leaves themselves I'll mark out directly with masking fluid and a brush. It's much easier that way. Now, I grab my feather brush and begin to apply the masking fluid wherever I want to keep the paper white, like on the water and around the stones. The water and rocks here are pretty dark, so masking helps me work confidently. It's tricky with just a brush if your hand is unsure. If you don't have any masking fluid, you could substitute with wax or even knit needles. But real masking fluid is best. I add wavy patterns for rushing water, more branches and foliage, filling those shapes in quickly with masking before the fluid dries. Sometimes you can build up foam or movement above a rock. The general water area will mainly stay white. Try to work briskly with masking fluid. When adding these textures in the water, don't make your lines too thick. Flowing water lines look better in varied widths, thicker in the middle, thinner at the edges. Make every leaf a bit different in size and shape. It helps the composition look alive, just like drawing doodles or plant patterns for Instagram. Think of this as making your own foliage pattern. Now our meditative leaf stage is complete, and we're ready for some colour. We'll build up our landscape layer by layer. The first wash is a light, transparent tone for the background. Then, wherever needed, we'll add more layers to clarify details, finishing with the darkest values at the end. I'll start with a wet background, maybe something sunny with hints of lemon yellow and just a touch of blue. Let it naturally blend. For the foreground bushes, I use lemon yellow, keeping the colour gentle and transparent. Next, let's pick colours for our stones. I'm thinking blue. Some areas mixing with carmine for purples, ultramarine for depth, and a bit of lemon yellow if I want some greenery to show through. You can experiment with brown or orange as well. At this stage, I keep the stones as a single wash, separating them with a second, deeper layer later. Pop in some reds, maybe go a bit violet or grey if it feels right. Feel free to use your own colour choices. My goal is for lively, interesting colour blends. After another round of meditative painting, let everything dry completely before moving on. The next stage is about patching colour into the stones and water. These details are what bring the scene to life. I'll work with the same colour palette, but deepen and intensify the shades in certain spots, always layering to create depth and natural variety. Leave some lighter areas up top and add richness to shadowed parts. You'll start to see volume in your stones, but we may need to go back and add detail and shadows, especially in the main stones up front. So we'll cover them with another glaze after this layer dries. Now, for the water. It's basically a mirror, reflecting everything around it. The upper section will lean toward blue-green, with some lemony yellow shining through to echo the sky or foliage. Some shadow patches will be much darker, so I use blues, violets and greens for those. The real joy of watercolor is how beautifully color flows and blends, especially noticeable on cotton paper. On Bohol, the texture is a bit more shallow, so washes behave differently, but each surface has its own charm. When everything is dry, I like to erase any extra colour, lift a bit from the shadows, or add extra blue or grey if needed. Play and watch how little complexities add mood. A few splatters in the lower stones can look like water spray. Now it's time to remove the masking fluid. I usually use a kneaded eraser, but you can even roll it away with your finger. Some spots erase better than others, but generally it comes off cleanly. Let's pick a nice warm colour for the glow in the foliage, and add some complexity in the highlights of the falls and puddles. For the leaves, I mix lemon yellow and blue, sometimes more of one, sometimes the other. Occasionally, I'll throw in a touch of orange, or a very dark mixture for bolder leaves. Remember, white outlines don't just have to stay as outlines. Add colour and depth in and around them for richness. Blues, greens, and those pops of yellow will all help your greenery sparkle. Keep meditating with the colour and form. Heavy spots and sunlit leaves all have their place in the scene. If some of those dark branches start grabbing too much attention, fill them in gently with transparent colour. Don't lose the freshness of a bright, lively painting. On lighter backgrounds, those spots will stand out more, but on dark stones, they might vanish. So keep your touches subtle and thoughtful. Add more water wherever you feel the scene needs movement or softness. Brush and blend until you get the atmosphere you want. As we wrap up, I love to add a hint of blue or glowing colour just where the light hits, giving the stones a gentle, airy finish. Don't be afraid to experiment. Each paper is different, each painting brings surprises. If I were to paint this again, maybe I'd go even lighter on the stones or add more rusty warmth. Work at your own pace. This is more meditative than technical, and there's no secret trick. Cotton paper is a dream for blending, but any experiment helps you understand your paints and find your best results. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget to try it on different papers and explore what feels best for you. See you at the next masterclass. Happy painting.